Hello everyone and welcome to Solshow. Today I'm talking about ID Invaded. This is an anime about a brilliant detective who is now awakened with no memory in a strange world. And so we think at the beginning of the story as our main character, the brilliant detective, winds up in a world that is full of random pieces of a town area just scattered, and his limbs are all like Rayman-ified, like it's weird. It's a weird beginning, and then he discovers a dead body of a girl named Kairu, and once seeing her, he remembers who he is, and that he is a great detective. And that is a fun concept, and there is a very distinct style and very good character design work in this show, and that all lured me in. But when I stayed for the meat, for the substance, ID Invaded was personally lacking, and I think I'm just sick of cop shows. It turned into another cop show, and in this anime, the cops are hunting serial killers, but every serial killer puts out like a brainwave that they detect on a scouter on their own little psychopath machines. So they find the serial killers, they enter their minds, and their minds turn into these 3D spaces that only a person who has killed another person can enter. This is the concept of our show, which is being taken enormously seriously. Did I mention one of the main characters is a guy who drills a hole through his head and then has an obsession with drilling holes in people's heads? This is taken as serious as I can say. But within every well, there's a chance that they will find a clue or something that will lead to the actual killer. Or who knows, maybe the agents on the field will discover and accidentally run into the serial killer. There's a lot of moving parts within every episode, but it still manages to be like a character of the week or a serial killer of the week kind of show. And it just meanders on that for so long that by the end of it, it definitely picks out, these are the characters you're going to care about. Let's put them all in like a crazy rigmarole and we'll call it a day. That'll be season 1. And I think there'll be a season 2 just because it seems like a show that might be like a cult following thing. And at the same time, the ending left a lot to be desired. Every time I thought that they were about to close out on a plot thread or give me something, be like, oh, that's what that was the entire time. Mystery solved. They're like, nah, here's a bunch of other information, and then we're just gonna end the anime, and that's it. See you next season. But again, every character is interesting. Every character has a cool design. They all kind of function in their own way. Each of them is a good foil for one another. Our main character, Kaido, we know that he was a serial killer. Basically, his wife and daughter died, and he went to get revenge, and he killed a guy in his vengeance. But before all that, he was a cop, so he has a perfect mind to be this great detective. But at the same time, he's getting a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We don't know what's going on with him. He is going off the edge. However, 90% of the characters in this show, I don't give a shit about. We are constantly cutting to this board of investigators and people who examine the ID well as someone's inside of it. I hated every moment. Every single moment we are on this team. You do not care about any of these characters. You do not care about what they are saying, how they reflect on the actual investigation. Every time that they try to interact with the other events going on with the rest of the show, it was agonizing. And some of the worlds that these detectives go into are much more interesting than the other worlds. A lot of the worlds pose some kind of danger, and those ones have your blood racing a little bit more. And the other ones, they're just kind of meandering, and they're not doing things. And there's some that have really cool concepts, but they don't really utilize them as best they could have. And we are constantly reminded about John Walker. John Walker is the bad guy of this anime. He's a Mad Hatter character with a top hat and a cape, and he just dances around these imaginary lands that he just pops into. It's a big mystery, John Walker. And when you find out who he is, it's a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. I was like, hey, they're about to solve this riddle, this plot hole, and then they're like, nope. You get a lot more questions, and everything that you thought was going to feel good now feels confusing. And I read a couple of the reviews, people giving the show 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8.9 bazillions out of 10. Yeah, I disagree. Every big moment this show threw at me just felt like it either went over my head or I took it at full force and felt nothing. I just like the show for introducing cool concepts, just for being a wacky sci-fi show with a lot of cool animation bits and other parts where the animation's not so good. It was a fun show in that it's a pretentious sci-fi gimmick show that's gonna exposition your ears into oblivion, but you can just kind of turn your brain off and it's all gonna be okay. I'm gonna give ID Invaded a 6 out of 10. Decent enough anime. Don't highly recommend it though. Anyway, thank you for watching as always, guys, and until next time, with that, I leave you.